Welcome back, Coach. Week 11. Nice to talk about a win in Week 10 and then talk about another opponent in Week 11 as the playoffs begin. So let's talk a little bit about Greenville. You get the win, get to keep the little brown jug.
Yeah, no, it was certainly a good win for us. You never know what you're going to get when you go over there, and certainly the last two times we went over there, I felt like we had the better team, but we weren't able to pull those wins off for a variety of reasons, and we talked about that with the kids all week, about finishing, and we wanted to end on the season on a high note, and I thought the kids did a nice job. I thought we played some of our better football, and despite the conditions and despite other things happening, I thought we did a nice job of it.
Yeah, the miserable conditions, obviously really cold, but also nice that now Greenville has synthetic turf and doing some major upgrades. So.
Yeah, no, it could have been a lot worse if we were on grass and mud, but the turf made it a little bit more bearable to be around in the game. And I'm looking forward to going back next time and see what other updates they do with their stages. But they got a nice area there. I think it's a nice setting, and it's going to be interesting to see what kind of updates they get done there. And it's a nice place to play.
So all the miserable conditions, bad weather, all kinds of chances for some problems to arise, but really you had one blocked punt and one fumbled snap that goes out of the end zone, but really only a couple of miscues, which is huge.
No, I thought the kids did a nice job handling the wet balls and stuff. We had a little bit of practice with that during the week. I thought we handled it maybe a little bit better than they did. I thought we threw the ball real well. The kids did a nice job of catching the ball. The receivers did. We worked on pre-gaming earlier in the week of pinning the ball against your chest. You can't catch with your hands in these kind of conditions. And I thought the kids did a nice job. We had the one snafu on the punt, and we had the backups in the offense. We had the punt that went out the back of the end zone. But other than that, the kids did a nice job of holding on to the ball.
And despite the weather, once again, Andre's 9 of 12 passing with 106 yards. Also adds 4 rushing touchdowns to that. Talk a little bit about Andre.
Yeah, he was pretty efficient. 9 of 12. I didn't realize he was that good until later on in the night when we saw the stats. That he only had three incompletions. I think you'd have a hard time in the Dayton area, this side of Ohio, the hell of the rain, to finding a quarterback that went 9 of 12 without any fumbles and interceptions and that kind of stuff. So he did a nice job of the night. The 4 touchdowns were, a couple of those were off of his reads that he had nice reads on, and were able to easily walk in for a score.
And of course, Isaiah Bowser, 176 yards, kind of average night for him, or a little below average night. Only played about 3 quarters, but surpasses 2,300 yards, 30 touchdowns on the season. A little bit of talk about Mr. Football. What are your thoughts on that, and what are your thoughts on his resume?
It's an award that's voted on by the media. I think this day and age, some people say it's hard to win it and not being in a big city area. Troy obviously has gotten the kid that's gotten it, and so has Piqua. So it's happened around this area before, but I think with this day and age in the media and stuff, I think writers are able to figure out kids really, figure them out well enough. And I certainly think he should be in the discussion with it, with his stats, the fact that he's going to a Power 5 football school, plays for a winning football team that's in the playoffs. I'm sure he's going to be in discussion for it. We'll do whatever we can to make sure he's given a fair chance at it. But in the end, it's a little bit out of our hands, and kids know as long as we keep winning postseason awards and all that kind of stuff, will only increase our chances. So right now we're pretty zeroed in on Week 11.
Right, and Week 11 is against Dayton Belmont, first time in the playoffs in 28 years, and Thursday night have a community pep rally. Talk a little bit about being involved with this stuff this week, and does that distract too much from your preparations? Does it make it more exciting? How do you handle all that?
Not really. We do have the pep rally on the square, so that is a little bit different. But other than that, it's business as usual. Nothing too much different. Practices have been adjusted a little bit just because that's what we normally do later on in the year. Shorten some things up a little bit, alter the lifting a little bit. Probably watch a little bit more film than we normally do just because it is a new opponent. But, with the pep rally stuff, some might think it's overkill and all that kind of stuff. But, I guess we can't say we act like we've been there before because we haven't really been there before. And it's going to be fun for the kids. We keep telling them to embrace the moment. They should enjoy it and really realize what's happening right now and enjoy it. At the same time, I've been really, really impressed with the increased media attention, and we still have college coaches coming to practices or coming into the school and all that kind of stuff. with all that happening, they're a very, very grounded group and very, very focused. And a lot of that has to go with our seniors and our senior captains.
So your first round opponent is Dayton Belmont, not completely unknown to you, but in 2012 and 2013, you guys outscored them 118-14. It's a little bit of a different Belmont team now. Kind of take us through what the Bisons
it's not even
provide.
close to the same Belmont team. Coach White took that team over about 3 years ago. I think this is his third season. And he's a great coach, formerly at Thurgood Marshall, and he's been at some other schools. His coaching staff's a very veteran staff that's been coaching all over the Dayton area for quite some time. So it's a really good staff, and it's a really neat program of what they've been able to do with those kids in a short amount of time. They've got some talent all over the field, and it's certainly not the team that came here 2 years in a row a few years ago when we weren't the best football team either. They're very, very, very athletic. The roster is still somewhat small, 9 through 12. They got about 35 kids on it, but they're kids that are really good football players and are really well coached.
9 points allowed all season by the Belmont defense. What does that?
Well, the defense has only given up 3. The offense gave up 6. The offense fumbled the ball one time and then had an opponent pick it up and scoop and score back. So the offense has given up 6 points in the year, and defense has given up 3. They've scored over 400 points. Only played 9 games, but either way, and I know some people want to say, well, the opponents they play and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't really matter to me. Whoever you're playing, if your defense only gives up 3 points all year, you're pretty darn good.
What do they show on offense? What kind of scheme do they have on offense?
Offensively, I kind of like a wing tee. If you want to think of St. Mary's or Tip City, something along that lines for the average fan, but it's really not. But it's a run-oriented game. Probably going to throw it or run it 95% of the time. Real tight splits, foot to foot for Sydney people. If you think back to, I believe Coach Gibson ran something similar to that when he was around here. It's going to be a shotgun though. Coach White usually does under center, but this year he went to more of a shotgun look and gives us some different things they can do off of it. But it's a run-oriented game. They've got athletes, 4 different guys who can probably tote the rock a little bit, and it's going to be a big challenge for our kids.
Well, great. Thanks, Coach, and good luck this week. We'll see you down at the pep rally, and good luck against the Bisons.
Thanks.
This has been your host, Brett Bickle. Go Jackets, Stingers up.